Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ratna Puri Cahyani. First of all, I would like to thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His mercies and also to all of you who have been present at this meeting. I am also grateful for the opportunity given to me. On this occasion, allow me to describe what I got from the academic paper that I read before about a study on students' English speaking problems in speaking performs, which is a research journal from English Education's department at Tanjung Pura University. So here are some important points that I have summarized and can be studied further. The first one is the importance of speaking, communicative competence in English language teaching. The third, the problem in speaking performs, which is divided into two main aspects, linguistic problems and psychological problems. And the last one is result. Alright, so this is the importance of speaking. Speaking skill is an important aspect to acquire when learning a second or foreign language, and the success of learning the language is measured from the performance of learners to speak the language learned. By speaking, we don't mean merely uttering words through mouth. It means conveying the message through the words of mouth. This indicates that speaking fluently or being good in oral communication is a core aspect of human to say connected to each other. Silent language is an instrument of communication. There is no excuse for a language learner for not being able to speak the language learned. So the next is about communicative competence in English language teaching. There are five competence in English language teaching. The first one is discourse competence. So discourse competence concern the selections, sequencing, and arrangement of words, structures, sentences, and utterances to achieve a unified spoken or written text. The second competence is a linguistic competence. So linguistic competence comprises the basic elements of communications, the sentence pattern and types, the constructors, structure system needed to realize communication as a speech or writing. The third competence is actional competence. So actional competence is divided as competence in conveying and understanding communicative intent, that is matching actional intent with linguistic from based on the knowledge of an inventory. Fourth is socio-cultural. Socio-cultural competence refers to the speaker's knowledge of how to express message appropriately within the overall social and cultural context of communications, in accordance with the pragmatic factors related to the variations in language use. And the last one is strategic competence. So, strategic competence is the knowledge of communication strategies and how to use the language itself. These competence are the language competence which has been a must for the EFL students to acquire. Discourse, linguistic, actional, sociocultural, and strategic competence are the important chain that links together as the knowledge for the EFL students that brings them to master the language, English as the target language of themselves. By acquiring this communicative competence, the EFL students are expected and demanded to be good in their speaking performance in every life aspects. Communicative competence also plays an important role on student achievement in their speaking performance, since by acquiring those all five communicative competence, the students will play a good speaking performance. Alright, so the next is the problem in speaking for form. So, like what I said before, there are two main aspects in the speaking for forms. The first one is linguistic problems. So, linguistic problems are those problems which make students' speaking ability become poor. There are some linguistic problems that affect someone in speaking, such as poor in grammar, lack of vocabulary, and pronunciation. While in psychological problems are those problems which often interfere the emotional or physical health. This problem may become the obstacles for the students to enhance and improve their speaking ability. Alright, so let we discuss about linguistic problems. The first one is vocabulary. Vocabulary is an individual word or a set of words which have specific meaning. The problems of vocabularies occur when someone is lack of vocabulary needed to talk and doesn't know how to combine the vocabularies into a good sentences. Students are clearly know what they are going to say in the short language, but when they have to switch the language itself into the target language, such as English, they often get confused to combine and use the proper vocabularies needed. The next is grammar. Grammar is a study in which sentences are structured and formed. If learners don't know the rules of grammar, they will never be able to communicate using English effectively. For example, the learner who has mastered the third singular person marker on the present tense verb is likely to overgeneralize the rules and apply it to the newly emerging modal verb, thus producing errors such as "she can speak English." The last one is pronunciation. Clear communications is essential in communication. The second or foreign language learners are also demanded to speak English naturally like the native speakers. Correct pronunciation is very necessary to develop speaking skill. Once a person can pronounce correctly the endings of the words, for example, he can at the same time give grammatical information. Right? Wait a second. So, this is about a psychological problem. The first one is lack of self-confidence. Self-confidence refers to self-assuredness in one's personal judgment, ability, power, and etc., sometimes manifested excessively. Lack of self-confidence can be made up of several different aspects such as gulsy feeling, shy turn inward, unrealistic expectations of perfections, false sense humility, fear or change or making mistake, depressions, and etc. This lack of self-confidence also become a great problem which affects student speaking performance. It is difficult for the student to master English speaking if they are not confident with their own speaking ability. The last one is anxiety. Anxiety refers to a transitory emotional state or condition characterized by feeling of tensions and apprehensions and heightened automatic nervous system activity. In this case, um, the students may end up with nothing to say toward their interlocutor of the audiences. They may convert certain feelings such as nervous, um, anxious, worried, shy, feeling afraid for fear of something worse happen, whether they are trying to speak better. Alright, so the last chapter in this academic paper is about result. Based on the research findings on students' responses in the questionnaire, the most dominant problem faced by the student is the psychological problem, with mean percentage 70%, which has the higher mean percent than the linguistic problem, a 1953%. Um, All right, everyone, this is my re-explanations of the academic paper that I read before. Thank you very much for your great attentions, and I apologize if there is a lack of words. Hopefully this can be useful for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.